What's up, Dylan Sigley here. Today we're going to talk about how to go from $0 to $10,000 in one day with drop servicing. Let's get into it. Have you ever felt like building a real online business that drives consistent results, freedom, and control? Online business can feel uncertain, confusing, and overwhelming, but what if you had the vision, mindset, and actions to get from A to B and building your online business step by step so you can live a life with freedom, consistency, and control? But before we get into the video, don't forget to subscribe and the notification bell so that when I release more marketing strategies, tactics, and stories, you'll get notified. And if you like the video, don't forget to like the video. Let's get into it. So most people make online business super complicated and difficult, right? And in the beginning, it can almost feel like it's impossible to get these big clients, like there's some kind of wizardry involved. But at the end of the day, it's really a few simple steps that go into it and a few concepts that you need to understand to get these big clients, and that's what we're going to be covering in this video. But I want to give you an example of one of the big sales that we've generated recently where we got a $10,000 client in one day. So this is the entire process that we went through to get this client, and it may seem unimaginable that this is how simple it is, but it really is, and I recommend going out and trying it for yourself after this video. So literally what we did for this client is we went on to Crunchbase, which is a directory of companies. We did a search for companies in their space using a few criteria, looking at kind of company size, what kind of funding they've received, etc., to get an idea of how big the company is. And then once we found a few companies, we put them in to Snowvio where we generated their emails. Then we connected with them on LinkedIn and sent a message with our offer, and also sent an email with our offer, which they responded to. From there, we jumped on a call with them, and everything went down pretty simply from there. They had a need and we had a solution, so they bought there on the spot. Ended up being a $10,000 sale, which may seem pretty crazy, but it can be pretty normal once you do get used to it. It's all a mindset thing at the end of the day with these really big sales, because for these companies, this is just small change for them. They're used to dealing with much bigger vendors than you, and drop servicing businesses are kind of a drop in the water, you know, a small fish in the pond. The bigger agencies out there with big fancy offices charge so much more than we ever could. So $10,000 is really just normal for one of these companies. So this is how you go about the step-by-step process to get it, and there's some concepts and theory around it that you need to understand to be able to implement the strategy. So let's explain all of that for you. It's common to think that it takes a lot of work to close the sale, and that's because we're brainwashed by what we learn about business in university, TV, and the movies to think that you need to do a million meetings, go and see someone in person in order to part with a large sum of money for your service. But that's really not the truth. You can have clients pay you $1,000, $5,000, $10,000 in one day if you go about it in the right way. And that's what we're going to be covering in this video, is how to close these large sales in such a short period of time. Because you see, as long as you have an irresistible offer that makes a company extremely willing to part with a large budget in order to get their problem solved. Because remember, large sums of money to you aren't large sums to these companies that you're working with. They're really just pennies. They're just a small part of their larger budget that they assign each year to marketing. So don't worry too much about asking for large prices, and you can always just increase the prices that you ask over time. Start small with something you feel comfortable and then expand from there. So in my case, in the beginning, it felt crazy to me that someone would be willing to part with $1,000 even to produce a service online, you know, over the internet without meeting in person. But once it happened the first time, I became more comfortable with it, and I did it again and started increasing the price over time. And then eventually we were getting $10,000 and above sales in one day. So it really is possible to expand your comfort zone and just expand the offer that you've got in order to get these large sales. And these are the steps you need to go through in order to close them. Number one is they have to trust you, right? I mean, if someone's going to part with a large sum of money, they need to trust you, your company, and your product. And the only way that you can really achieve this is by showing them what you've been able to do in the past. That's really the best indicator that you're going to be able to give them that you'll be able to produce the same level of quality of work for them as well. So you usually do this with testimonials, case studies, and examples of your past work, so then they get a feel for what they can expect from working with you. And everyone has a different level as well, right? Everyone's got a different level of certainty they need to have before they make a purchase. We want to have certainty that the solution is going to solve the problem. And the only way we can really provide that certainty is by showing past examples of ways that this problem has been solved with your specific service yourself. It can't just be other companies in the industry in the same space as you, because then they would just go with those companies instead of you because they actually have examples of their past work. You need to have examples of your own past work before you can move forward. Next, the prospect needs to feel like they need to get this problem solved right now. You need to add in some urgency into your offer to get them to actually take action and move forward with getting the service done. Because we all have a to-do list, right? We all have a certain set of things that we know we need to do, but we're not necessarily going to do those things. And that's because everything is ordered by urgency and importance. It might be important, but it might not be urgent, which means we don't need to get it done right now, and then we won't do it. We'll do something else that's more urgent and maybe the same level of importance. So urgency is really key in your offer, and you'll want to do this by adding in things like a timeline or a countdown or limited spots, which is more a form of scarcity but works in the same way. So you want to add some of those things into your offer to create that sense of urgency that your prospect needs to move forward with you now. On top of that, that urgency needs to be paired with importance, right? Because if the offer is urgent, if getting it done is urgent, we're not going to do it if it's not important to us. So there needs to be a certain level of importance around getting that problem solved. And the level of importance they assign around a certain problem is going to be determined around their awareness level, right? So we want to know what stage of awareness they're up to. You have those that are unaware, so they've never heard of the problem, they've never heard of the solution, and they've never heard of your product. They don't know any of those things. They've got no idea there's a problem that exists or a solution that exists to fix that problem. Then the next level is you have people that know they have a problem. So they're like, okay, there's a problem here, but they don't really know of any solutions yet or any products they can use to solve that problem. And then of course, after that, they find the solutions to the problems, right? But sure, they may know there's a solution, but they can't provide that solution themselves. They need to find a product or service that's going to deliver that solution for their problem. And then they're going to start looking at different vendors, and that's when they learn more about you. So the three things you want to do at this stage is really show them, hey, you've got a problem here, this is the solution, and this is the service or product that you need to solve that problem. And that really just shows them that they need to get it solved, but also you're the best option to solve it, which is really important, right? We don't want them to go with some other company. So when somebody has the right combination of urgency, awareness, and importance, the price really doesn't matter so much. I mean, I've found and I've seen from so many other job services and just business owners in general, when they test pricing, the conversion rate doesn't really change that often. So what I mean by that, let's say 3 in 10 prospects purchased, right? And you were charging $1,000. Well, if you change that $1,000 price to $3,000, often you'll still get 3 out of 10 purchasing. And that's because that change for them isn't really a big change, $1,000 to $3,000. It may seem big to you, but these are large companies with large budgets, remember, so these aren't big changes for them. And then on top of that, I mean, they're more focused on solving the problem than the price itself. If you're getting a lot of price-focused clients, then you're not really doing it right. You want those clients that just want to solve the problem. They don't care what the price is so much. And that's why price really is elastic. If you have the right offer and you can literally just increase the price and your conversion rate will stay the same, you'll just end up making more. And that's what you're going to find as you become more comfortable over time with the prices that you charge. You can charge more and more and more. So that's what I would recommend doing. But obviously have some morals as well. I recommend only charging prices based on the market value of what you've got to offer. So make sure that what you've got to offer actually has some market value before you charge higher and higher prices over time, because you actually want to provide some good value to your clients at the end of the day, right? That's what business is about. So at the end of the day, it all just comes down to research, having a great offer, and then putting that offer in front of potential clients. And there's tons of ways that you can do that. There's a lot of directories online, such as Crunchbase, and you also have all of the social media networks like LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, of course, and you can find all of these companies there. And then often just with a little bit of research, you'll find the founder or the CEO, the president, the decision makers at these companies, and then you can reach out to them, over social media with a message or an email, whatever it may be, and you put that offer in front of them, right? Then from there, they're going to see that offer. If it's a problem that they really want to get solved and your offer looks really great, which it should, if you focus on what I'm always telling you to do, then what you're going to do is get on a call with them or have your salesperson get on a call with them and close the sale. And that's how we were able to get this $10,000 sale in just one day. It really just came down to that simple process. And because we automated it with people and software, we didn't actually have to do any of that ourselves. We were sipping Mai Tais on the beach somewhere whilst this happened, in our dreams, of course, because right now I'm actually in Poland and it's winter, pretty bad outside actually. But yeah, so that really is the the process. It's pretty simple, and that's all you need to do to get these big sales. And at the end of the day, it just comes down to being comfortable offering large prices to your potential clients based on the value that you're providing them. You don't want to offer rock bottom prices just because you don't feel good enough to offer these larger prices. At the end of the day, if the problem that you're solving is big enough, they're going to be willing to pay a large amount of money for it. And I recommend testing your pricing as much as possible so you can get the most out of it as possible, right? But on top of that, remember the moral side of things. Try and keep your prices at market value. It's not like you can create a monopoly anyway, because these types of businesses are plenty and it's a huge market. So if you try to charge too high prices, they may just find someone that's better. So of course there is a ceiling to this and there is a bottom to it, but you want to find that perfect point, and that's where testing your pricing as much as you can comes into it. So hopefully that helps. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video.